So right now, the Season 1 launch and reloaded content is essentially all out there. The huge gap period between now and Season 2 poses a few questions for the future, but in terms of playable content, one of the things that we'll have on our plates is map content. Now, while new maps are always welcome just for the sake of them being new and not over reusing maps from the past, I'm sure that plenty of people also like specific remakes. Well, both new and old, we got a bit of a nod as to what to expect from the associate creative director for all of Black Ops 6 at Treyarch. So today we're running down what was mentioned, what you can expect, and how there's already some teasers that you can consider right now that you yourself can view in game. So drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe for all things Black Ops 6 and other FPS coverage as we chase down 700,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you in the community, but for now, let's get into it. So we saw recently a new report talking about the future of Black Ops 6 and maybe beyond. We'll get there in a second. But in an interview with Dexerto, Miles Leslie, associate creative director at Treyarch, talked about the future of Black Ops 6 multiplayer content, maps being a big focal point of that discussion, in which he mentioned that more classic map remasters are on the way throughout the year. It's kind of a no-brainer, but also some we haven't seen in many years. He said, "We put a ton of consideration into the prospective remasters with each new game. We know there are certain fan favorites that players would like to see again, and we have some of our own favorites that we've had on a wish list over the years. I'll just say that while we're still focused on delivering original designs as the majority of our post-launch maps, no previous Black Ops title is off the table for potential remasters." So that's an interesting statement to make. Obviously, as with things like shipment, there's a few maps that you can almost guarantee are going to be coming to a Call of Duty game year over year. Nuketown being Black Ops' equivalent of shipment here, but other maps in the Black Ops catalog we've seen more times than not, but not in every single game. Like maps like Firing Range have been in Black Ops 2 as Studio, Black Ops 3 and 4, but not Cold War, so not every Black Ops game. Jungle has been in Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and Cold War, but not in Black Ops 2, so not every Black Ops game. Slums has been in Black Ops 2, 3, 4, and Cold War, but not the original, so you see where I'm going with this. There's a solid set number of maps that have been consistent, but now to hear explicitly that we have some ones that not too many people have seen in recent years, well, that makes things a little interesting, I think. But what adds to this is the interesting timing of this interview, because as of recently, leaker Forward Leaks mentioned a few things that he heard in regards to maps coming in the pipeline, both launch and Firing Range. Launch we haven't seen since Black Ops 4 and its reintroduction there, and before that, Black Ops 1. So that's one that is, again, kind of like an air quote fan favorite, perhaps. I don't know how everybody feels about that collectively, but it is a classic map that hasn't been seen for quite some time that could coincide with that. Now, Forward Leaks also did mention this could potentially be for COD 2025 and not the Black Ops 6 year of support, which also could be said for a lot of different maps that you could throw out there, because that year 2 of Black Ops content we're rumored to have this upcoming year is going to be a mixture of new and remastered maps, kind of like what we had with Modern Warfare 3 and the Modern Warfare 2 2009 maps, but additional multiplayer maps that are new beyond just remasters. So while it's been previously mentioned that focal point of year 2 will be remasters, it's not out of the realms of possibilities that new things could be included and these could be pushed up to Black Ops 6 or just held off until then. But what I find most curious out of all of this is that we potentially have even more maps that could be coming in the near future for Black Ops 6 or perhaps beyond that we know of right now, hidden kind of in plain view. We all know that in the last few years there's been developmental conscious efforts to bridge the gap per se, developmental sharing either levels or universal lore, and Black Ops 6 is no exception. I mean, hell, minus the Verdansk re-release here, this was slated to be something that would be the first fully connected sort of bubble of content, a campaign and narrative that set up the post-launch story with cinematics, locations for maps, and even the fully fleshed out world that would eventually become Avalon, the new big map for Warzone, but that isn't something that we'll see this year, unfortunately. Instead, that's been rumored to be moved until next year's Season 1 integration, because, well, Verdansk is coming in the spring. But the world was done, and as we've talked about before, it's visible right now depending on what map you play on in Black Ops 6. With the universal lore being set up for Avalon, you'll see that you'll have plenty of maps that are already listed as Avalon for Black Ops 6 multiplayer, and you guessed it, you can find those all throughout this interconnected map of Avalon. And then some. So if you were to fly around Avalon right now in either Codcaster or Theater mode, you'd find the existing maps of Hacienda, Skyline, Lowtown, Protocol, Stakeout, Hideout, technically it's one of those ones that's like way off in the distance that isn't connected, and just for like the sake of narrative purposes, it's said that it's in Avalon, but in terms of the main battle royale map, it's actually not in those main segments. You also have Extraction and Red Card. So those you can all see flying throughout the map of Avalon right now and check out. But if you do that, if you decide to look a little further into what this map may have on offer, you start to see there are other classics that could come to MP as a result of this sort of asset sharing that is built out already. You just need to make it its own separate thing here. Those maps being WMD, Yemen, Firing Range, Hazard, and one of my personal favorites, Dig from Black Ops 2, or for the OGs out there, Courtyard from World at War. Now, there are some lesser obvious ones as well that could be changed. We don't know the sort of definitive nature of this, and what I mean by that we'll discuss in a second, but Casino from Black Ops 4 is that large giant building that you see behind Skyline. You can actually see it in the map itself. You don't need to go off into the distance into Theater Mode or Codcaster, but that's the French Syndicate Casino from the campaign. And then it also appears like Outskirts might be there from World at War, but that again is one that it's because it's not as rendered in as possible. It's kind of hard to see if it's exactly one-to-one with the map layout from what we saw in World at War. But there's at least half a dozen maps here that we have that are in Avalon right now that could be returning here that, again, are right there. They're already built out. They're not rendered in, obviously, because when you take a multiplayer map and it's just that small segment, you're not rendering the rest of the world in its entirety, but it's taken from that world of Avalon. So it's already built out. It's just not playable. And that's on top of other maps that may just not be a part of this. So there's definitely plenty of classic maps already seen in there from the Black Ops universe here. But one thing that we do have to keep in mind though is, again, Avalon's launch is all sorts of messed up with this, which could throw any potential sort of like previews or teasers that we were meant to get just to the wind. Like, it could be something that happens in the Black Ops 6 year of support. It could be previews for what we see in Black Ops 7's year of support or at launch. So will these be post-launch maps for Black Ops 6, launch maps for Black Ops 7, post-launch maps for Black Ops 7, a mixture of all of those? It's quite possible, but we just don't know definitively. But the clues are laid out right there for all of us to see. The big thing is that these have, again, been built out for that larger map. The world and assets are already in place, so it's just a matter of releasing them as their own separate maps, which we've seen done so many times since Modern Warfare 2019 and the concept of ground war maps and other smaller areas, building this larger world around it in the COD space. So just wanted to fill you guys in because I thought this was an interesting interview that kind of teases a little bit of the future for Black Ops 6 and perhaps beyond some, but also the fact that we have so many maps literally right in front of us that you can check out for yourself. So what maps would you want to see return here in a remastered capacity, if any at all? Let me know down below, but that's where we're going to wrap it up. Just wanted to fill you guys in here on what you may have missed. But let me know your thoughts. Drop a like down below if you guys enjoyed the video or found it at all insightful. And make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 content, as well as other FPS stuff out there. We're going to be getting back into some multi-game stuff here with the end of this year and into the new year. But would love to have you guys in the community as we chase down 700,000 subscribers. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.